I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, July the 17th, 2015. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond met yesterday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. The two held a joint press conference ahead of the meeting to discuss the Iran nuclear deal. Hammond had said earlier this week, in response to Netanyahu's rejection of the deal, that Israel would not have been satisfied with any agreement with Iran. At the press conference today, Netanyahu suggested that a better deal with the Islamic Republic would be one that would, quote, roll back Iran's military nuclear program and tie the easing of restrictions on Iran's nuclear program to changes in Iran's behavior. Hammond stressed that the present deal includes measures to ensure Iran's compliance. He said, despite our different views, I urge Israel to work with the UK to ensure the deal's fully implemented and effectively monitored. And staying with Netanyahu, the Prime Minister harshly criticized the International Criminal Court in The Hague yesterday for their call to reopen the investigation into the 2010 Mavi Marmara incident. If you recall, the Mavi Marmara was a ship attempting to break Israel's naval blockade of Gaza. When Israeli commandos intercepted the ship and boarded it, they were attacked by those on board who were armed with lethal weapons. Several IDF soldiers were seriously wounded. And in the confrontation that ensued, 8 Turks and 1 Turkish American were killed. The IDF maintains that its soldiers clearly acted in self-defense. Yesterday, ICC Chief Prosecutor Fatou Bensouda, who had closed the investigation last year, was asked to reopen it by 3 ICC judges who claimed she had made an error in her initial decision. Netanyahu said the request to reopen was, quote, motivated by cynical politics. He slammed the international arena for ignoring actions in Syria and Iran and focusing yet again on Israel. Netanyahu said, against this hypocrisy, our soldiers will continue to protect us in the field, and we will defend them in the international arena. Authorities in Moscow are looking into whether a shooting attack on a prominent Jewish leader yesterday was motivated by anti-Semitism. 62-year-old Sergei Ustinov serves as vice president of the Russian Jewish Congress. He is also the director of the Moscow Jewish Museum. He was shot in the neck by an assailant yesterday just across the street from the museum in the parking lot of his real estate agency. Ustinov is in critical but stable condition. The Russian Jewish Congress said that while it was too early to determine the motives in the attack, they called on police to give the investigation special attention and to, quote, adequately qualify this crime if it turns out to have been committed on the grounds of ethnic hatred. Tomorrow, July the 18th, marks the 21st anniversary of the deadly terror attack on the AMIA Jewish Community Center in Buenos Aires that killed 85 people and injured 300. An official commemoration took place today in the city. Director of the American Jewish Committee's Latin American Affairs, Dina Siegel-Van, was at the ceremony. She said this year marked another year of justice denied for the victims and their families. In 2007, Special Argentine Prosecutor Alberto Nisman concluded that Iran was behind the deadly attack. Nisman, if you recall, was found dead of a gunshot wound to the head on January the 18th of this year. The day before, he was set to present his findings against Argentina's President Cristina de Kirchner for allegedly covering up the investigation. Many believe Nisman was murdered. CEO of the World Jewish Congress, Robert Singer, was in attendance at the commemoration in Buenos Aires today as well, and noted that the call for justice has yet to be repeated again. Singer also attended a special ceremony yesterday as the city of Buenos Aires' legislature honored the Latin American Jewish Congress, a branch of the World Jewish Congress, for its work in promoting coexistence and interfaith dialogue. The White House is set to award 12 faith leaders this Monday for their work to help protect the environment. This year's Champions of Change include Rabbi Mark Soloway, who leads Congregation Bonei Shalom in Boulder, Colorado. He's also president of Boulder's Rabbinic Fellowship, Chaver. Soloway also chairs the Rabbinic Advisory Board for the faith-based environmental organization Chazon, and serves in many other capacities in programs like food initiatives and promoting sustainability. Birthright Israel has honored lone IDF soldier Max Steinberg. Steinberg was an American who had traveled to Israel on the Birthright program and just a few months later decided to enlist in the IDF. He was killed last year on July the 20th during Operation Protective Edge when the armored vehicle he was traveling in Gaza was hit by Hamas explosives. Friends, family, and fellow soldiers of Steinberg dedicated a memorial site at the ancient synagogue in the Arbel Nature Reserve in the Lower Galilee in his honor yesterday. JBS will air a special program about Steinberg tomorrow, Saturday night at 10 p.m. And looking at our programming for tonight, Friday, July the 17th, at 6 o'clock, live Shabbat services from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed at 7:30 by a Shabbat a cappella concert. And then at 8 o'clock, former Israeli ambassador to the United States, Michael Oren, discusses his book, Ally. At 9, the documentary Obsession explores the threat posed by radical Islam to Western civilization. And at 10, Muzika with Israeli singer Ninette. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, July the 17th, 2015. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.